And welcome back to Love Your Food. This week we're doing a beautiful and really simple roasted tomatillo salsa verde. Now before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone that we have an affiliate link with Chef's Temp. If you would like to check out the link in the description below, it would really help out the channel, and use code LOVEYOURFOOD on checkout for 15% off your order. We also have a Patreon that would really support us as well. I'll put a link for that. And in the meantime, here's our ingredients. So we've got these beautiful fresh tomatillos, an onion, some fresh serrano peppers, some garlic, some cilantro, and some lime juice. Now we're going to start here. Of course, we're going to start by peeling our tomatillos. Now, if they come in this style, we got them fresh from some local farmers, and they were just perfect. But you do have to, peel off the papery outside. They're sort of related to Cape gooseberry. They have that same kind of outside look to them. And then we're going to roast them, and we're just going to roast them whole. So we're just going to pop these on a silpat and put these in the oven, along with basically all of our ingredients. So the garlic we're going to wrap up in tin foil, because we don't want it to lose any too much moisture. We want it to sort of cook in its own juices in there. The rest we're going to just leave open so that it gets nice heat and a little bit of toastiness on the edges. But the garlic we're going to wrap up in tin foil and tuck that aside. The onions, we're not going to cut it super small. We're going to keep them pretty big and just let them roast on the pan. And if you leave them with the tips pointed up, then they'll get a little bit more of the browning on the tips like that. And there we go. I mean, they can just go on there pretty haphazardly, and that's going to go into the oven until it's nice and toasty. Now we took a look. It was probably a little bit too early, but we did take a look. And you can see things are starting to get a little softer. They're getting a little bit brown on the tips. But this isn't really as far as we wanted it to go. So what we're going to do is just take our tongs, move things around just a little bit so that things get, toasty on all sides. And that's going to go back in the oven, turn over those serrano peppers. And those are going to go back into the oven so that we can let it get a little more roasted. So here we go. We're taking it out now. And everything looks really nice and toasty. Now, some of those tomatillos are going to split open. That's fine. We're going to collect the juice from the bottom of the pan and just toss that in with everything. But you can see everything looks really nice and roasted in there. So we're just going to let that cool down a little bit. We don't want to toss it into the food processor piping hot, but we don't want it to be too cold either. We're going to chop up a little bit of cilantro here. And then we're going to unwrap our garlic as well. And you can see those are beautifully roasted. And they have that nice roasted caramelized flavor color to them. They're super sweet and, still really nicely garlicky. And we're just going to toss everything into our food processor. So in goes the garlic. In goes our tomatillos. And our onions and hot peppers. Now you want to take the stem off of the hot peppers, of course, but otherwise they can just go in whole. We'll leave the seeds in as well. And then on top of that is going to go the rest of this amazing juice. And you can use, if you have little sort of toasty bits stuck on the silpat, you can use that juice to kind of deglaze it, which is what Chef Caleb is doing here. And once you get most of that off, that's just going to go right into that food processor bowl with everything else. A slightly inelegant procedure, but there you go. And so that's going to go all in there. We're going to add in our cilantro as well. A little bit of salt in there as well. We just definitely want to make sure that everything is seasoned. And then we're going to add in that fresh cilantro that we chopped up as well. And we're just going to add the lime juice, and then this is ready to go. So once everything's in your food processor, you just want enough liquid in there so that it's pretty easy to go. Now, a lot of liquid is going to come out of those tomatillos as well, so you don't have to worry too much about that, but you do want that zinginess from the lime juice. And we're just going to pulse that for a little while until it's not super smooth. We don't want it to be, puree. We want it to have a lot of texture. We want it to have some nice flavor in there. And that's the whole thing. I mean, after that, it's ready to go. Like many things, it's usually a little better the second day, but you can eat it right away. We find that it's not as good super cold, and it's really nice at room temperature. So if you've got it in the fridge, you can microwave it for a couple seconds before serving, and it's really, really good. And that's it. We hope you'll give this one a try. If you like this recipe, please do like and subscribe. And if you have any recipes you'd like to see Chef Caleb try on the channel, please let us know in the comments below. And remember, we'd also like to thank our patrons over on Patreon. If you'd like to help support us there, I'll put a link for that in the description below. And remember to love your food.